Oh, yeah. Hello and welcome to the FGH Radio Show. Whether you listen on Fishbowl Radio, watching us live on the Facebook page, live on the YouTube channel, listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Spotify, live or recorded any way you can afford it, baby. We thank each and every Glory Hole Seeker for tuning in this week. I'm your host, Bo Stevens, and I'm joined here, as always, by my good buddy Longhorn. Longhorn, what's up, buddy?
All right, Bo Stevens, here we go. Who are we? What do we do? And where can you find us? We are FGH, and to put it simply, here on a Saturday morning, we make you money during the football season. No more stressing about what games to pick at the last second. No more stressing about, oh my God, I'm down. College football kicked my ass Saturday. How do I make all this up on Sunday? No more of that. That's what FGH is here to do. Think of us as your football stockbrokers. We are here to build your football 401k. Nobody likes paying those stupid bookies, and our tagline is literally never pay a bookie again. So where do you find us? Patreon.com/bet_FGH, bet_FGH. You can sign up for free. We got premium packages over there. Let us earn your business. We don't want any handouts, but we got a podcast that drops during the football season every Monday and Thursday. That's the Football Glory Hole podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, we do live streams. We've got of course, right here on Fishbowl Radio Network every Saturday mornings, 10 to 11 a.m. Central Time, the FGH Radio Show. So we're all over the place. We're growing. We're blowing up, and it's the off season. It's not even kickoff time yet. So we're so excited about where we're going and what we're doing, and the new things that we're doing, Bo Stevens. So let's talk some football like we always do.
Let's do that. Seems like we're doing a lot of shit.
Before
we got to get into that, then we got to talk about the second most important thing in your life, other than winning money in football, is your health. And let's face it, going to the doctor sucks. Having a scheduled appointment, take time off of work to drive there, and then wait for up to an hour just to finally see a doctor. Forget all that. My good friend Dr. West at TexasTelehealth.com has a way to skip it all. You go to his website, schedule your appointment. As little as 30 minutes or less, you're on the phone with him. He's got your problem diagnosed. He's got your prescription written and have you feeling better in no time. And again, you never have to leave your house or work. You can call it into Amazon Pharmacy. They'll deliver your drugs right to your doorstep. Could you even imagine? At TexasTelehealth.com, they treat everything from the common cold, flu, ED, VD, weight loss too. You can get that Ozempic, baby, for $119 for a 30-day, $119 for a 30-day supply, and your consultation is always free with accepted health insurance. So whether you got a penis turned green, a little too much size around your thighs, or yellow shit coming out of your nose, lungs, and eyes, go to TexasTelehealth.com right now and be sure to tell them that FGH sent you. That's Texas, TELE Health.com for all your medical needs. I tell you who doesn't need to go to TexasTelehealth.com, a Longhorn, because he's just fine and dandy. That's that old Brock Purdy. I don't know if you saw the news, but Mr. Irrelevant went to Mr. I'm rich as shit as he got a 5-year extension yesterday worth $265 million. It has him signed through 2030, and $181 million of that is guaranteed. So San Fran's days, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, but we'll continue to talk about it because it's the best, as Longhorn always talks about, it's the best like kind of hack to building your football team. Having that cheap quarterback that you're not paying is the key to your window being extended and, really making a run at the Super Bowl. They did get to the Super Bowl with him. They've been pretty close a couple of times. Well, that's over with now. He's going to earn $53 million, which puts him at number 5, I think, in the league.
What a bargain they got.
What a bargain. Mr. Irrelevant to now the 5th highest paid player in the NFL. Dak, number 1 at $60 million. Allen and Burrow and Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence are all at 55. And then Purdy is dead even with Jared Goff and Tua at $53.1 million.
Dak
per
at
season.
$60 million. No wonder their over-unders are 7.5 wins coming out. You can't pay. Like I posted about this, we've been talking about this literally for years. You don't pay good quarterbacks great quarterback money. It's the death nail. Now, the death nail does not come immediately. Dak has been very highly paid for a long time, and they've continued to
But this is the the zenith of it all.
Yes.
Like now we're at the point where he's now the highest paid, and now their money really is all taken up. So
Yeah. So, and the good thing about Brock Purdy on a personal note is that he can still walk around even though he's making 50-something million dollars a year. And I don't know outside of San Francisco that anybody would recognize him. He looks like you and I. He doesn't look like an NFL quarterback, but my God, he got the bag, and it's the beginning of the end for San Francisco. I'm really surprised that they did this. I thought they were going to be one of the smarter teams that would actually, especially with that system and that Shanahan just kind of plug and play quarterback. Obviously, he was the last pick in the draft. Just kind of keep that going. I mean, it's odd that they decided to go this route, but they did, and we'll see how it works out. But usually, not too good, buddy.
Not too bigly. No, I'm not surprised actually, because I lost all faith in Shanahan as far as what he's doing, building a roster with the entire Trey Lance debacle. The fact that they traded all those picks and then at the end said, "Now we really didn't know who we wanted. Just kind of whoever was left, that's who we're going to take." When I heard that, I was like, "Yeah, okay, then I don't have any faith in you anymore." And roster building, like that's it. Like you're a genius when it comes to designing offensive plays and plugging people in and having a system.
That's more of a GM thing, though, isn't it? Kind of. I mean,
but John Lynch is going to let that be his call for the quarterback. Hey, do you really want this guy? If you do, we'll make it happen. Because John Lynch has been a great GM as far as like getting talent around those players. They have had a talented roster. You did go over that last week. So that's all on Shanahan. Like that's 100% on Shanahan, the quarterback debacle situation.
The organization definitely owns this quarterback debacle, starting with, like you said, Trey Lance. So yeah, that's a fair point. They've kind of botched this for a while now, but you do get credit for taking Brock Purdy. Also, is the thing. So
that was the funny part. Is like the owner was so pissed with it. I don't know if you remember. I think they were on Hard Knocks, or whatever. And the owner was pissed off. He was like, "Yeah, I was really kind of upset because I walked by Kyle and asked him how Trey was doing." He's like, "Well, to be honest with you, boss, I think the best quarterback in our room was our 7th round pick." And he's like, and he laughed. He's like, "But I knew he really wasn't kidding." And at first I was like, "Well, that's good." And then I was like, "Wait a minute, that really pisses me off."
That's not bad. We give 3 number 1 picks for this Trey Lance guy, and I think he's out of the league now.
He is out of the league currently. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, that was a big swing and a miss there. All right, well, we're not talking about San Francisco this week. This week, we're going to continue our trek down the National Football League. We're going to go over the AFC South. And as always, I will attempt to do this in alphabetical order, but I make no promises. But I think I got, and this is actually a tough one because all these teams are like right together except for Indy.
Letters are hard.
Especially when they're right side by side each other in the alphabet. They kind of look like each other. But we're just
Tennessee. No.
We are going to start with Houston. Now, if you're somebody from Ohio that doesn't know how to speak proper English, you might think that it starts with a Y, but it's not. It starts with an H. It's Houston, or like that lady in the Titans release video called them the Texas Texans. I kind of like that, actually. The last year they won 10 games. The Pythagorean theorem said they should have won 8. So they definitely outkicked their coverage there. They were over under last year 9.5, over under this year 9.5. So Vegas expecting more of the same. At Longhorn, how did this team do in the draft?
Yeah, as far as the draft goes, I really like their draft. This has kind of been a common thing for them in the past several years, which explains why they're they have a good team. They made obviously those big moves when we were in, was that Kansas City, the draft we were in, when they did they had Stroud and Will Anderson just bang in the top, whatever it was, 3 or 5 picks, whatever. That's you talk about laying it, because if that goes wrong on either, you are so fucked for like a decade. And they fucking nailed both of them. Stroud and Will Anderson knocked it out of the park. So they've been a well-run organization, and the draft this year, more of the same. Jaden Higgins, they didn't have a first-round pick. They traded out, so you got to factor that in too. So they gained some future considerations with draft capital there. Traded down, took Jaden Higgins. Now you're going to tell me about the draft ratings and what I've learned with us doing this this thing we've been doing the last few weeks, going over the drafts, is that I'm all these players, since I studied them for months in the offseason leading up to the draft, they're all kind of like my little babies, like my little kids. So there's ones that I really love and there's ones that I really don't. So if you get a list of ones that of a team that has a lot of my babies on there, I'm gonna like it and not necessarily look as much to the value, which that's where you'll come in with some of the consensus grades. But Houston took a lot of my babies here, a lot of my pet cats. So Jaden Higgins, I loved him, freaking loved him. He was one of my almost must-haves in the second round. Now they took him with the second pick in the second round. So value-wise, they'll probably get a knock there. But player-wise, oh my God, love him so much. Let's skip down to the third round pick. They took the other Iowa State wide receivers.
They took them all.
They took both Iowa State wide receivers. Now, you'll talk to some draft gurus who like Noel better. Some like Higgins better. Most liked Higgins better. Some said the explosiveness of Jalen Noel they liked better. I was a Higgins guy. I'm a sucker for that. Just you can't teach size. So like Higgins at 6'4", 6'5", and the way he can move, you just can't teach that. Now Noel is explosive. Like he's just the smaller. You want to say slot because of his size, but he's not just a slot. He can line up outside. He's like a Steve Smith-ish type body build, but very explosive. Just they nailed it. Now we'll get into the roster build in a second. Was there necessarily a need to go there that early? I don't know. Skip up to the second round. Arante Essery, he was the guy that we talked about when we did offensive tackles. He was my click to pick in the second round. Boom. Took one of my favorite second round offensive tackles out of Minnesota. Going down the list, Jalen Smith, cornerback, liked him. USC. Woody Marks back. Hey, they did two Iowa State receivers and then backed it up in the third and fourth round with two USC players. So they got a theme going. Woody Marks, again, they took him in the fourth round. To me, this was a sixth round flyer of a running back I really liked. I think I comped him to Kyron Williams for the Rams. In the fourth round, I guarantee you're probably going to the value is not going to be good for Houston is what I'm predicting you're going to say. And then you just go down the rest of the list. You're in the 6th, 7th round. Take a DB, take a quarterback that I don't like. In the 7th round, they took Luke Lachey. We did talk about him doing the tight ends. He's an Iowa tight end. That's kind of all you need to know. He's an Iowa tight end. 7th round, you take a flyer.
Great deep snappers.
He's going to be an amazing blocker right off the bat. He's going to block his ass off. And then you just see what he can develop into with that lineage of Iowa tight ends. So overall, really liked this class. Bosi was telling me about what the gurus are saying on, grading it and the value of it.
Well, the gurus gave it a C overall, so about average. Dane has 24th, his class, so he's below average on them. Yeah. I personally give him an F triple minus because they drafted Graham fucking Mertz. So anytime you do that, you just fail miserably to me.
That one was a woo curveball.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just joking. I don't care what they do. They're 6th-round picks. But Dane's favorite player, it's so funny. Your pet cat was Higgins. So his favorite pick was Noel. And he says, despite not having a first pick, the Texans did a great job adding potential left tackle, the Arante Essery, and bolstering receiving depth chart. He said it was not surprising to see Jaden as the first one drafted, but Noel was, quote, one of my guys. So Noel was his dude in the class. So that's his guy. Your guy's the other guy. I don't probably think you can go wrong with either one of them. They both look really good in college. So he said it is ironic. He said it's ironic that my comparisons for Higgins was Nico Collins and Noel was Christian Kirk, and they're already on Houston's roster. They already have both of them. That's
funny.
So they basically have the next generation of what they already have, which I think they needed. I think that was a good move. They needed to. They're going to have to be able to score the ball. I think the coaches got the defense in line down there. His day 3 pick that could surprise, though, you didn't mention him.
Jalen Reed,
the safety for Penn State.
Should have gone way higher. I forgot to mention him. Yeah, he's a guy that he was the other safety. Winston was the guy that got hurt earlier in the year that went, I think, in the 2nd or 3rd round. But Jalen Reed balled out last year for Penn State. So, yeah, sorry. I just have 6th round. That's insane value. He should have gone in the 4th round.
All right, as far as the numbers go, so last year they scored 372 and they gave up 372. So they should have been 8-1. They won 10 games. Look, we're going to talk about this division. It's going to be hard for them not to win more than they lose. This division is just not good and getting worse. But their strength of schedule, though, despite that, 21st easiest. So they've got a bottom third strength of schedule as far as the difficulty of it. So that's not going to help them. Now, I don't know how much these rookies, I mean, they got to make some kind of impact. I bumped them up to 387 points on the score, but I got to give them up 377, about what they did last year. I don't know how much they could improve the defense from what they did, and they don't really need to. 372 is fine. You can obviously win a lot of games giving up that many points as long as you score the ball in the 400s, if Stroud's going to bounce back from which we called this last year, right? We both called them winning division. Well, no, you called them winning division. I did not call them winning division. I think I had them winning 8 games, which is what they should have won, but they won 10. I think that, though, the reason why we were both, even though you had them win the division, you had them win the division because the division sucks. But the reason why we both had them kind of sliding back from that performance the year before was obviously the sophomore slump from Stroud, which we absolutely did get. It's very predictable. It generally happens to every quarterback. Now, the question is, they fired their offensive coordinator, who was Mr. Everything, right, after Stroud's rookie year. Then they suck ass last year on offense, and he gets fired. So now we got a new offensive coordinator. Stroud's got another year under his belt. The question always is in the quarterback's third year, does he progress or does the league start to leave him behind? Now, obviously the ones that are great, that hang around, they progress. The ones that start to get left behind, or the ones that don't, are the ones that start to get left behind, right? You can just go down the list of, on both sides, players that have taken a step or players that have started to get left behind. So this is going to be the big year for Stroud. Again, schedule's not overall that easy, and you didn't do anything to kind of sway me either way off the numbers. I don't think, like I said, yeah, they got 2 receivers. I do like them both, but we know how rookie receivers do. They could be Jefferson or whatever, but most likely not. Most likely they're just going to be guys kind of in their first year, right?
They don't need to be like that. They
don't need it, yeah. But they do have to get better. Like, I've got them at 9-8 sitting right now, which I think is fair enough, especially with the schedule. But their offense, I don't see it improving that much. I think the defense will be just fine. Again, that coach does a great job coaching the defense. Like I said, 372, you're great giving up that many points when you can score the ball. But can they score the ball? Can Stroud take that step? That's just going to be the big question for Houston for me this year.
Well, I think as far as the roster goes, the defense is just rock solid. They even added to – this might be the best secondary in football at this point, with the addition of Gardner.
They don't have any problems on defense, really.
DJ Gardner-Johnson. They drafted a third-round corner. And they already had just studs on defense in that secondary. And the defense overall is there's no point even talking about it. The defense is going to be great.
That's what led them to the victories last year.
Their Achilles heel, which they threw darts at it at the offensive line. We'll see how this takes, but bringing in guys like Trent Brown from Cincinnati, Ed Ingram from Minnesota. These are guys who have started in the league, but they're not plus starters. They're barely average starters at this point. Cam Robinson from and then they drafted the rookie rookie tackle in the second round. So they've got they're going to be playing a lot of who's our best 5 in the preseason and even going into the season. So it'll be interesting. They're putting a lot on CJ Stroud here to kind of carry this offense, deal with a bad offensive line or a learning offensive line to start the season and see if they can get it kicked into gear by Thanksgiving and kind of get some cohesiveness on that offensive line and let everything fall into place. But I agree with you that how do you not in that division? They got to be the cream of the crop.
They got to be. I mean, they got the best coach. They've got the best, overall roster for sure. And see, CJ's got to learn. Like, that's the step I'm really looking for him. He's got to learn to get rid of the football quicker. He holds the ball way too fucking long.
Bad mix with
it takes him too long to get to his progression. Like, he's got to take that step. And hopefully this new offensive coordinator can get him through that. But like you said, talent-wise, they got to be the cream of the crop. I really like their coach. I believe in him. He's shown me nothing for me not to believe in him since he's been there. So, yeah, I still got faith they'll be okay this year.
What was their over-under?
9.5. Same as last year. They crawled over it last year. They probably crawl over it again this year.
You got 5 wins in division.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah. All right, moving on to one of those, or probably 2 of those 5 wins. Those Indianapolis Colts. Oh, last year over under 8.5. I said they would win 8. I got it right. This year over under 7.5. Vegas, huge downgrade for them here. Oh, and I want to mention this. I think 7 or 8 weeks going through and grading my 272 lines to the actual lines that Vegas have put out for every game so far. One of the teams that I was a little high on was Houston. Indy, I think I've been spot on pretty much across the board all the way through. So Longhorn, can they improve? Did they improve? What's Indy doing?
Well, as far as the draft goes, not one of my favorite drafts, but by a long shot. Loved the top 2 picks. You know, you should be able to hit your first 2 picks. Some teams, not all teams do though, so keep that in mind. Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State, and JT Tuimoloau, the edge from Ohio State, kind of knocked those 2 out of the park. Filled some team needs there nicely, and then the draft went sideways for me. You know, I've seen a lot of players that I didn't like, sprinkle with a couple players that I did. You know, if you're talking day 3, you know, Jalen Travis, he's a giant Iowa State tackle. He's definitely in project range. Like, he can't start immediately. We'll see. Those giant 6'8" type tackles, they're enticing because of the size and the movement skills that you might see in college. They very rarely work out in the NFL like that. When they're that big, you have to be super elite athletically and with your feet to work on the offensive line. So that's a project. You know, I know you kind of have a thing for Riley Leonard, and I'll let you talk about that when we get to him. Tim Smith, kind of like that. I kind of like that 6th round dart throw, giant defensive tackle out of Alabama, but overall don't like this class too much, Bo Sivas.
Yeah, the good people at The Athletic agree with you. C- on the grade, and this is Dane's 27th class, so bottom 5 in the league. His favorite pick, Tyler Warren. I don't think we really need to go over that. Day 3 pick, though, that could surprise is Jalen Travis, the tackle from Ohio State you talked about. He says when the Colts breaking in a few new stars on offensive line, you might see the coaches experiment and shuffle them in there. He said if Braden Smith moves inside or has to miss any time, Travis might be the next guy up when it all shakes out. So he could be starting at some point this year, which anytime you get a starting offensive lineman in the 4th round, you've either done something really right by drafting that kid or your offensive line fucking sucks. So,
well, I guess the good news when you have a rookie tackle starting, especially a 4th round rookie tackle, you've got a couple of athletic quarterbacks that, you know, if he gets beat immediately, whether it's Daniel.
Riley Leonard is pretty athletic. I will give him that.
Make that 3 athletic quarterbacks with Daniel Jones, AR-15, and of course, who could forget Riley Leonard?
Look, man, for that team and that fit, I like Leonard a lot and I don't like him overall that much as a player, but if that's the scheme to go to, that is the scheme for him to go to, because
I like him in push situations personally. I think he's going to destroy on 4th and an inch.
He is like the most rock solid runner, I think, of all the quarterbacks that came out in this class. It is hard to tackle that young man. He is a load.
You can't use fucking AR-15 in a quarterback sneak situation. He'll break. He's proven he will fall apart and break. He breaks a fingernail and he's got to tap his helmet and come out of the game. So yeah, just if nothing else, he's gonna be a load on short yardage situations.
But I mean, that's funny too, because my comp for him, we went over quarterbacks, was literally Daniel Jones, and now they're on the same team. So
can we talk for a second about the run? Like no longer can you just pencil in Indy as a top 5 offensive line. Those days are over.
No.
Okay,
they're bad.
They've aged and they've lost players. And somebody wake me up again when Quentin Nelson is an actual All-Pro like he was when he started his career. So
I don't know if injuries have taken that dude down or what it is, but he's not the same guy anymore.
I don't. Maybe it's injuries. Maybe it's a whole lot of kegs of beer. Really don't know. But he's still a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's just not elite anymore at this point. So I don't know. You want to get into the roster a little bit, Bocephus? What you're seeing?
Yeah, so last year they scored 377. They gave up 427. They should have only won 7.27 games. So they actually outperformed their Pythagorean theorem by about a game. It's not egregious. But they have the 11th hardest or 11th easiest schedule, so that will help them. I think they won the schedule lottery in this division.
Okay.
So that's good for them. However, I mean, it's hard to see any upgrade for the offense. Even if you upgrade the defense, I don't know why you would. You didn't really tell me anything that would. It's hard to see this team winning more than 7 games. Just going through it, they're over under 7.5. That's a full game downgrade from Vegas. Again, they won 8 last year. And just kind of where I'm at with them. I mean, because you got to think that Tennessee is going to take a tick up, right, with a rookie quarterback, or they can't get any worse. In Jacksonville, if everybody's healthy, they got to take at least a tick up. And we, both think that Houston has a chance to take a step forward. So that kind of leaves Indy as the one going backwards. The only team, clearly that did not do anything to push themselves forward in the offseason. So
it's just looking at the roster. It's a sneaky picking in the top 5 next year. Now it might not, because they do still have elite players like Jonathan Taylor's and well, Michael Pittman's not elite, but he's certainly, a plus starter. They've got some elite defensive players, like a couple, but it does not look good. Like, this could really go sideways, especially with the quarterback situation on top of it.
We just talked about Houston. They scored 372, and I said they got problems on offense. Indy scored 377. I mean, it's the same. You're in the same place. Like, if you're scoring to the 370s, you're just not going to win a lot of football games. So, especially if you're giving up in the 400s. And again, their defense, I don't have any faith that they have a coach on staff that's going to fix their defense, or that they've got the personnel. Obviously, that Houston has that they don't. So
it's a crime too, because I love their defensive line. If you're just taking defensive line depth, like starters in depth, and just rank them, like they'd be in the top probably 8, and that might be too low for just defensive line. So it's a crime to be that good at pass rush and interior and depth on defense, and you're just a hodgepodge mess. It just really feels like a team that's no direction. The team building isn't good, and obviously with the quarterback situation, like we said, it's not a good recipe for success in the NFL.
Not very bigly. All right, I think I made it through the maze of the alphabet jungle. We're moving on to Jacksonville. So we went H-I-J, back to back. This is my favorite division to do anything with on our Excel spreadsheets, because it's just bam, bam, bam. The cells are right next to each other. So right. I do enjoy that. Last year, what Jacksonville didn't enjoy is they won 4 games, Longhorn, with an over-under of 8.5. This year, again, a big downgrade from Vegas, 7.5. I will tell you, going through the lines through, like I said, I think I'm 8 weeks through so far, I have Jacksonville pretty far down, and I guess I had them down a little bit more than the market would allow, because I've had that they're one of the teams that I've been off the most on, I'll say, as far as it actually has been matchup dependent. So I'm a little bit off on them, and other teams that I'm off on is really where the lines have got to go. But every time that I've had to, or I didn't adjust, but every time that I've been off, it's been for Jacksonville's favor. So Vegas is I haven't gotten through how many favorites they have, overall, but it's starting to feel like Vegas is betting on the come on that 7.5 more than I would have expected them to. I'll just say that. But Longhorn, what did they do anything to get any better? Because they sucked last year.
I don't like this draft, and I have not liked their offseason. Obviously with Travis Hunter coming in, look, let's start with the good, but we don't want to piss off Jacksonville fans right off the bat. Let's start with the good.
You're driving that Travis Hunter train, so.
Well, and it looks like they're going to mostly play him at receiver, and then we'll see how they sprinkle him in on defense.
Well, the coach, so I did read, I was going to talk about that when you got into it, but I read the article when they interviewed the coach about him. So he played exclusively receiver in rookie minicamp. He played almost exclusively in the slot, which I thought was weird, but whatever. But the coach said starting next week, so this week, when they go back for voluntary workouts, he will be exclusively on the defensive side in that room, going through those meetings and getting familiar with that. So I think they're really going to give him a shot to do both.
Okay, so that so helps their team. Like, I mean, I know that people are scared to do this experiment, but you look at their depth.
What do you got to lose?
Yeah, I mean, let me just name their three. I'll name Tyson Campbell's a really good corner, so I'll skip him. He's locked in at corner. He's one of the higher paid corners, and he's really good. The other two, Jarrian Jones and Jordan Lewis, who played for Dallas for 18 years.
He's still in the league?
Somehow still in the league. So it's you have to play him at corner. You just have to. Now you can work out the snaps counts however you want, but you have to play him at corner. Now on offense, that's what I was going to get to with the good news. Look, Trevor Lawrence has some weapons now because they fucking nailed their first-round pick last year. Brian Thomas from LSU got him with the 24th pick in the first round. He outplayed every single receiver in the draft last year. That includes Marvin Harrison. That includes Malik Neighbors. Now, we'll see how that works out going forward, but they nailed it. He was awesome. So now you pair him up with Travis Hunter. They brought in Diami Brown from Washington. He had a good run late in the season. He became one of their actually more productive players at wide receiver as the season closed.
Somebody had to.
Right. But other than that, it's more the same with Jacksonville. I just don't like the roster build. I don't like the offensive line. Defense, it's just doesn't look great. So a lot of work still needs to be done. You said the over/under is 7.5, and people
7.5,
and people are juicing and leaning to the over. I've got to go the other way. I still don't like exactly what I'm seeing overall from this roster and the draft. Like I said, let me click back on the draft. Hunter, yeah, I like the third round guard. If you're talking day two, I like the third round guard. He's got a chance to come in and start. Honestly, I'm seeing. Look, we talked about Brashard Tootin when we did our running backs. I really liked this guy as a dart throw in the late part of the draft. They took him in the fourth, maybe a little bit high, whatever. He's getting a lot of love in fantasy football land. There are rumors that Etienne could be on the trade block. So we'll see how all this plays out. Now, Tootin, I know you watched him too, some, and you liked him when we talked about him. He's just a fun little joystick player to watch and amazing speed and quickness. So we'll see how that plays out in that backfield. Jack Kaiser, I liked him at linebacker for Notre Dame. That's a solid fourth-round pick. Didn't like anything else. So, there's really only like 2 or 3 players that I liked in this draft overall. But the fact that you get Travis Hunter, who might be 2 players in one for a defense and offense that needs him on both, he's generational. Nobody else can do that.
Especially when you got a team that only had 1 pick in the first 87 picks. So It's kind of like you got 2 picks if he can play both positions. All right, the good people at Athletic agree with you 100%. Well, the overall grade does. They got an F. They're one of 4 teams in the league that got an F. Yikes. Now, Dane was not that hard on him. He had him 17th, so he's got him about middle of the pack. Favorite pick, obviously, Travis Hunter. Don't need to go through that. Day 3 pick, though, you didn't mention. Lane, the safety out of Navy.
I missed that one on my prep. Tell me about Ryan Lane III.
Yeah, he says we'll see if Lane can break through on defense, but it's a safe bet he will make an immediate impact on special teams with his athleticism and toughness. He shined as a gunner in college, so I guess just a 6-year-old getting a guy that's what Dane feels is pretty much a lock to make your special teams. That's not bad. That's really not bad.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're looking in the 6th round. They have to be. You have to make.
It's the only reason they stick around.
Yeah. All right. So, that's look. Look.
And if their secondary sucks, as you said that it does, which it certainly does. I mean, if the kid can play at all, he's got a chance to get out there.
Let's see where he's sitting out on the depth chart as a rookie. He's he's got players in front of him. Let's just put it that way. There's physical people that exist in the real world in front of him. So we'll see if he can.
Supposedly, allegedly. Over under 7.5 this year. Now, the good news is they underperformed the Pythagorean theorem by quite a bit last year. They should have won 5.5 games. They only won 4 because they're losers. But the bad news is this: they scored 320 points last year. That's right. We said Houston and Indy had problems on offense. They scored 370s. They
Jeez.
scored 320 points. That is poverty
Seem
level.
impossible. Seem impossible.
All while giving up 435 points. So obviously not a good football team. Last year, the crazy thing is this. And I'm seeing this now, and I'm kind of reading it full time, and now it's all clicking back. Last year, Vegas had them favored in 13 games preseason, but only an over-under of 8.5. So I was like, well, Vegas is clearly betting on Jacksonville to go over that total. This year it's 7.5. And again, I don't have the total number they're favored in, but it's already more than I had them favored in through 8 weeks of grading it. So they're kind of doing the same thing, I feel like, going forward. I can't get there. I'm with you, man. I mean, I can see the offense improving some, obviously, but what are they going to do on defense? They didn't do anything to address anything. You know, a new coach can't fix both sides of the ball, and he's an offensive guy. Now, the only thing that I think the reason for the optimism, the only reason for optimism is this, and you nailed this last year. That dude that took over, and I don't remember his name, Mr. Duval, whatever his name is.
Right.
You called it last year, him going to Tampa Bay, really helping Baker out and kind of setting him on. And Baker probably had the best year of his entire career last year with this dude. Now Trevor Lawrence gets this dude as his quarterback. So I got to believe the offense has to improve. But even if you improve them, and let's say even if I bump them up from the numbers I have now, let's say they score 50 more points. That gets them in the 370s, which is still not good on offense. How much better can their defense really get? It's not going to get that much better. So, I mean, to me, you're still staring at around a 7 to 8 win team. Now, they do get the 12th easiest schedule in the league, so that is helpful, especially compared to last year. But, I mean, anything more than projecting 7 to 8 wins in this team, and you're literally betting on the hope that this coach can come in and make Trevor Lawrence the level that he's shown the flashes of that he could be and the potential he was drafted on. If you're doing anything other than that, if you're just looking at any data, any of the roster, anything after Longhorn told you what he told you about the draft, yeah, you're lying to yourself if you think you see more than 7 or 8 wins on this team.
I wonder why it's you think it's just Travis Hunter hype that's steaming to the over.
I mean, I don't know how much I think the new coach and the quarterback combination, what he did for Baker, and the fact that people still view Trevor Lawrence as very talented because he was number 1 overall pick, and he has shown flashes that he can be that dude. He did carry him to a division win. He has won a playoff game more than Derek Carr ever did. Shots fired, Derek Carr, but he keeps getting hurt now, and he's another year older. We'll see.
And the roster is getting worse, not better.
And it's getting worse. It's getting worse.
How do you go backwards with a
4-win team?
Too. That's the thing. Remember, he got when he won that playoff game.
Yeah, he wasn't getting paid. He's getting paid now, and they're not one of those organizations that's really good at drafting anyway. So they need all their money just to be average, and now they have no money, and they suck at building teams. So yeah, he's fucked. I think they're fucked. And like I said, anything other than projecting 7 or 8 wins, and you're doing it just literally on the hope that this coach is it really is the quarterback whisperer, and all of a sudden he's going to be Joe Montana.
The weird thing about him, like I actually think he could be a great quarterback. So you're paying him great money, and I think he could be a great quarterback. Unfortunately, he's just at a garbage franchise. It's you know, you got to get lucky too sometimes on the places you land. And we'll see. This is the first coach that maybe he can kind of help Trevor Lawrence a little bit.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. I mean, but like we always say too, the truly great ones will transcend no matter what the situation. There's just there's so few truly great ones.
Like you'll get a Joe Burrow that can carry garbage to a Super Bowl,
or a Peyton Manning that will turn around a just garbage ass Colts franchise.
Yeah, true.
All right, let's move on to the last team, Tennessee. Oh, I passed the alphabet test. Are they going to pass the football test though, Longhorn? 7.5 was their over/under last year. They won 3. I actually got that one right too. I had them winning 3 games. I don't know how they won 3, but they did. They're over/under this year 5.5. So I think that's them and the Giants. Those are the lowest totals, and the Browns. But no, I guess the Browns are lower. So them and the Giants are some of the lowest totals out there. But they got a new quarterback. They got hope as always. So Longhorn, what else did they get in the draft?
Well, let's we can skip Cam Ward. We've talked about him. I mean, first overall pick. Everybody knows about him. I don't know about, I don't do grades like A+, A-, B, D, F, all that stuff. This is in a top 5 drafts for me. I love everything they did, including, I guess we can skip all the way down to the bottom, undrafted free agent. And the reason I didn't mention any undrafted free agents for the other 3 teams is because I looked at their list and it's garbage. Like, and somehow they had nobody that I liked. Tennessee, however, they brought in Cam Ward's boy from Miami, Xavier Restrepo. I don't know, just Miami's all-time leading receiver, just a guy that forces. Like,
have they ever really had any good receivers in Miami though?
Well, there was a guy.
Come on.
There was a few guys that made Hall of Fame. No, of course, you got a different era. They throw a lot more now, so I'm not saying he's going to be like a Michael Irvin or some of the all-time greats. But the fact that he went handpicked by his boy, it's just a great spot. Now he did run a 4.7, 4.8. It's not what you. That's the defense.
Put the bong down for a month, kiddo. Let's go.
We'll see, because I've seen some rookie tape of him, and it looks like nobody can. He just some receivers just can get open. It's just throw away their 40 times and all that.
It's like the Cole Beasley effect. Like, you put them in the slot, and they just can't. If you can't get a hand on them, you can't really stay with them.
Yeah, and supposedly he outworks everybody. So now, as far as the draft list goes, I literally love or like every single one of their players. They took the pass rush from UCLA in the second round, a little higher than I liked, but still, a service pass rusher. They took the Kevin Winston, the other Penn State safety we were talking about earlier in the third round. That dude, if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have been a first round safety. Like just if you projected his career before he got hurt, you're talking about a possible first round player that they got in the third round. Took a over the top receiver, deep 4.3 speed with the Florida kid in the fourth round. Texas tight end who ran a poor time because he had an ankle injury at the combine, but you got him right around where he should have gone, maybe a little later because of the slide with the 40 time. Alik Ayamonor, Stanford. This guy should have gone the second round. I still don't know what happened there. Obviously, there's something because he slid for everybody to the fourth round, but that's a second round graded receiver all day long. Jackson Slater, I loved him as a project guard from Sacramento State, kind of a small school. We'll see what we can turn him into, but really liked his tape. And then Kalen Mullins, the running back out of Michigan. I mean, he went where he was supposed to go. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's going to come in and start or anything, but you're getting a quality, athletic running back in the sixth round. So from top to bottom into the free agents, I just love this class. Put them right there with Seattle of another top 5 draft class that I really liked, and that's before we even get to their offseason move, Bocephus. So loved it.
Yeah, the good people at the Athletic agree with you as well. There's 3 A's that they gave out. The Titans got one of those. Dane's got them at number 8 overall, so he thinks it's a top 10 draft class. Obviously his favorite pick is Cam Ward, so there's no need to talk about that. His day 3 pick, though, I'm surprised you didn't mention, or maybe you did and I just missed it. I was looking up something, but Gunnar Helm, your boy from Texas, the tight end. So he said that Tennessee needed to address the offense again early in day 3 and did exactly that, taking 3 pass catchers in round 4. Helm might not wow with size or speed, but he can wiggle free from coverage and finish at the catch point. So he said with Chig Akuwano, whoever the hell that is, going into the final year of his rookie deal, the Titans will give him plenty of opportunities as a rookie to see what they have. So sounds like he's going to get a chance to get on the field early and get some time in with Cam Ward. So overall, here's the thing. I always bet against rookie quarterbacks as far as season total. It's just a profitable thing to do. It hits at over 60% of the time. I'm not going to like to do it with this one. Just going through it. Well, the over-under is 5.5. I've got them projected right at 6 wins.
Damn.
They've got the 8th easiest schedule in the entire. So they actually hit the schedule lottery in this division. Got a pretty easy schedule except for Houston. They got the hardest one, which is fair because they won the division. That's how it's supposed to work. So, and Tennessee was the worst team, so they're supposed to get the easiest schedule. This is actually how it's supposed to line up, and it did line up for them. It doesn't always work out. But they should have won 4.8 games last year, so basically 5 last year, and they only won 3. So they got some positive regression coming. They got a brand new coach. They got a brand new quarterback. Last year, obviously, the offense, horrific. We talked about Jacksonville. What were they, 320? Yeah, they scored 311. So,
oh my God.
And they gave up 460.
That will certainly change. 100%.
It's hard not to get better from that.
I predict better for offense in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean,
best bet more than 311 points.
Even if I've got them at 339, and even if that's conservative and low, with what I got their defense giving up, that still puts them at 6 wins. So if the kid can play at all, which I think that he can, and if he just doesn't get himself killed. Last year they were only favored in 1 game. I think this year through 8 weeks, I think I've already seen them favored. I know I've seen them favored at least once. I can't see twice. I think twice, but I should have that done by the time we get on the air next week, and I'll have the numbers from what Vegas, how many favorite games are favored in. So basically that tells you what Vegas is actually projecting them game by game to win. And what we kind of found is there's some teams where Vegas is right on. There's some teams where they shade to the over, some teams where they shade to the under. And what we found, the ones that they shade the under, and we think under, I mean, last year it was 100% that it hit, but it hits at a extremely high clip. So that's kind of what we look for when we go through and do that exercise. And I should have that done by the time we get on air next week. So
see you next year, boys.
Yeah, see you next year. Looking forward to that. But anything else, like I said, for me, it's got to be arrow up with Tennessee. There's no reason for it not to be. Rookie quarterbacks always bring excitement and unknowns, and they always, they generally don't go over their win total. Like I said, that generally is profitable to bet against them. But with it being 5.5, that's usually lower because it's usually like rookie win totals so the standard is 6. The high side is 6.5, which is what we had last year with Jaden Daniels. And actually, no, Caleb Williams was the highest we've ever seen at 8. But that just got crazy. That was an easy win for us on the under there. But 6 is a standard, so it's lower than the standard at 5.5. I think it's a little bit. I think they've been shaded a little bit too much. I bet by the time that kicks off, it's probably 6.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel more comfortable taking the under 6, obviously, than the 5.5. But
right.
The offensive line, it's starting to fall into place. They brought in Dan Moore at left tackle, not a great tackle, but a serviceable tackle that allows them to kick J.C. Latham back over to his natural right tackle position. Brought in Kevin Zeitler, guard, established guard, to go along with Cushenberry and Skoronski. So this is turning into, a average to maybe, if things work out, a slightly plus average O-line to go along with all the dart throws they did at receiver and tight end. And a pretty established defense. Need a little bit more pass rush, but overall looking pretty good over there as far as building wise goes.
And don't forget about Billy White Shoes Johnson. Never forget about him. All right, Longhorn, tell me about the Patreon one more time and get us out of here.
I already forgot about Billy White Shoes Johnson when you said it. So yeah, be sure and check us out at the patreon.com/bet_FGH. We got the Football Glory Hole podcast, and where you get your podcast, and right here on Fishbowl Radio Network. Every Saturday morning is the Football Glory Hole radio show. So people, stop throwing away your hard-earned money in a guessing game. Let the pros do the heavy lifting. So sign up, tell a friend, and join in on the fun of watching football, drinking beer, and never pay a bookie again. Come on.
Ah, damn it, never pay a bookie again. Steven Tyler, take us out, baby.